Hey, it's your girl Yona Marie, and today I want to talk about using onomatopoeia in your songwriting process. Yona Marie music, create with me. So you probably heard of onomatopoeia back in the days of elementary school, but let's talk about how it's a really good thing to try and use as a technique for songwriting, and how us indie artists don't use it enough. And we could be making hits with onomatopoeia phrases that can take our songs from little songs that people don't really hear about that much to viral songs that could be amongst the greatest hits out there, especially with the use of social media platforms like TikTok, which are responsible for getting little songs viral out of nowhere. So onomatopoeia is basically when a word sounds like the action or the sound that it's evoking. So for example, boom sounds like a fire exploding, or TikTok reminds you of a clock, or zap sounds like some electricity hits you. And these words can be really used, especially in choruses and hooks, to make your song very catchy, very memorable, and go very viral. So there are different types of onomatopoeia words you can use. You don't have to limit yourself to just boom, pow, the main things you hear all the time. They can be real words that evoke the meaning of a real thing, or they can just be made up words that sounds like something that people can be able to pick up on. And with that, you can get very creative. So for example, a real word that sounds like the real thing is like a cat meowing. Meow is literally the sound that a cat makes, and it's actually a word that people use. Or you can use certain words that kind of evoke the sound of a real thing, like the word bell, for example, kind of reminds you of a bell ringing, but it doesn't exactly sound like a bell. Or you can use something that's a little bit less realistic of a word, even though you might be able to find it on like an online dictionary. Something like sploosh, that sounds like the splash of water, but nobody's really using sploosh these days in their vocabulary. Or you can use something that's really not a word at all, like hachoo, for example, sounds like a sneeze, but you can actually implement that to use in your lyrics to really make your lyrics stand out, to give it a very visceral presence that gets stuck in people's heads. So let's talk about some examples of hit songs that we all probably have heard of that really stand out. The first thing I can think of is Boom Boom Pow by Black Eyed Peas. That song can really get stuck in your head, and especially when you start hearing it, you get the urge to start dancing. That boom, boom, boom starts to get you moving. It really starts to get you physically involved with the song, and at that point it could really become somebody's favorite track just by hearing it, especially with the repetition of it playing on the radio or on the TV. Another hit song that comes to mind is Bang Bang by Jessie J and Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj, especially the way that song really makes you want to move, like bang bang into your heart, I know you feel it. Like, I started to really get into, because my heart is almost like bang banging as I'm singing along with the song, to the point where I feel like I'm emotionally involved in it. But who remembers that movie Xenon on the Disney Channel? Boom, 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 make my heart go zoom, zoom, my supernova girl. I was always singing that, okay? That was stuck in my head. And that's because it effectively used that onomatopoeia to the point where we was like, that could be a song on MTV too. Forget the Disney Channel, that's a banger. And there's so many more songs out there. TikTok by Kesha is another one that comes to my mind. And I really just want independent artists, low-key artists, unsigned artists out there like me to use these examples sometimes when they're coming up with songs, especially pop songs, especially lead singles. Now, you don't want to overdo it, of course. You don't need to make every little part of your song an onomatopoeia lyric, but implement it in a way that really fits with your song lyrics and make that chorus pop. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the chorus, but it really pops when you put it in the chorus/hook section of your song. Again, it gives the listener an immersive experience, even if you don't have a music video for it. They can picture themselves in that moment when you're hitting that boom or that zap or that pow, to the point where they're physically getting involved into it. And not only does it give you a visual experience, but you can use onomatopoeia when you're trying to write an emotionally filled track, like a boom in your heart, explosion when you're falling in love, or like a zap that hurts you to the point of heartbreak. These can really help bring the listener close to your song lyric and the content, the story that you're telling with your song. So if you're out here trying to figure out song lyrics, just look and listen to things in your environment. Go outside, listen to the buzzes of the machinery, listen to the way the birds chirp. Sit in your house and listen to the way, I don't know, your refrigerator hums. There's so many different things you can get creative with when it comes to your lyrical content. And again, get creative. You can come up with your own words. The more creative you get, sometimes the more that can make your song stand out. You can be so unique to the point where your song is the only thing coming up to people's minds when they hear a certain sound. Thank you for tuning into this video. And if you want more tips on your music creation process, be sure to visit my website, yonamariemusic.com. And I'll see you next time.